Tayvin Galanakis is a 19-year-old college athlete who was pulled over by police at midnight for driving with his brights on. Despite telling police officer Nathan Winters he had nothing to drink and showing no signs of intoxication, he was still forced to get out of his car and, while standing in the rain, perform a series of field sobriety tests. Tayvin seeming to perform well on each of the tests, exercising the coordination and alertness of someone who is completely sober. Regardless, Officer Winters insists on giving Tayvin more tests before agreeing to administer the portable breath test, which body camera footage shows recorded a 0.0 for blood alcohol level. When the officer sees these results, he stops accusing Tayvin of drinking and instead starts to accuse him of smoking weed. The officer then places the young man, a student athlete with no police record, under arrest and takes him into the station for further testing. In response, Tayvin has filed a lawsuit against the officer, as well as the Newton Police Department, and more recently, the city of Newton has countersued him for defamation after Tayvin published the body-worn camera footage online containing incorrect information typed over the footage. So today we're going to take a look at the body-worn camera footage and find out just how strong Tayvin's false arrest case is. Did Officer Winters have it out from him from the start? And is the city of Newton justified in using taxpayer dollars to countersue Tayvin for defamation following the release of this video? We're going to answer these questions right now.
Jasper 639 traffic. Boy Zebra Boy 943. AZB 943. Hi there. How you doing, sir? Good, how are you? Good. My name's Officer Winters with the Newton Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is because you have your bright lights on.
Yeah, I have a headlight out, so I just keep my brights on.
Okay, well that's not legal.
Oh, it isn't?
No.
Yeah, I turn when a car comes by, I turn them off, but like.
Well, you didn't with me.
Oh, you weren't close enough though. You were like, you were a while back.
It has to be within 500 feet.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
And you're not supposed to have your brights on in the city limits.
My fault.
You got your license, registration, insurance with you?
Yeah, I got you.
Are you new to town or something?
No.
I just noticed you have Adair County plates.
Yeah, I got it from my grandpa.
The first thing I want to talk about here is whether the police had sufficient cause in stopping Tayvin's car. In order to pull over a car, they have to have probable cause that a crime or traffic violation is being committed. Here, I would say the officer likely did have probable cause for two main reasons: Tayvin's failure to comply with the requirements to dim the headlights while reaching a certain distance, either approaching an oncoming vehicle or following after a vehicle, as well as the apparent violation of the ordinance stating you have to keep your brights off and just your lights dimmed within the city limits. It's also important to remember, when you talk to an officer, you risk getting yourself in further trouble. Here, Tayvin admits to violating a traffic law, namely driving with a non-functioning headlight. Throughout the conversation, he seemed to be questioning the officer's decision and exercise of authority over him. It seems here that challenging the officer, and then the officer so easily catching Tayvin for the ticketable offense, may have emboldened Officer Winters and made him determined to find other violations of the law, whether they were there or not.
Where are you coming from?
Friend's house.
Okay. Anything to drink over there?
Nope.
I didn't hear what you said.
Is one of these? You need one of these right here?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good start. That's the registration.
Here, I'll just give you both of them.
Okay. I'll take this first one here.
Alright.
Got your insurance?
Yeah, I got you. Would it be that white card?
Could be. That's one that expired in 21.
I got the email version.
Probable cause is a level of suspicion that's required in order to justify an arrest. While some facts may be given more weight than others, a decision of whether there is probable cause to make an arrest for driving while intoxicated or any crime is based on the totality of the circumstances. Here, Tayvin's sluggishness or failure to move at the officer's desired speed was the basis for his initial accusation that Tayvin was intoxicated, what he repeatedly comes back to throughout their encounter to justify that suspicion. While he doesn't say it, Officer Winters may also be thinking of Tayvin's failure to follow the dimming rule, suggesting intoxication as he failed to follow the rules of the road. Even the presence of the gum can suggest an attempt to cover up the odor of alcohol. Four critical things the officer is likely to consider is what are known as the common law signs of intoxication, which are red, watery eyes, slurred speech, being unsteady on one's feet, and the odor of alcohol on your person. Now, even though Officer Winters says at different points in their interaction that Tayvin's eyes appear red, or that he's slurring his speech, or that he's unsteady on his feet, the video says otherwise. Tayvin's eyes appear clear. Tayvin's speaking clearly. There's no mention of the smell of alcohol. And when Tayvin gets out of the car, he seems to be steady on his feet. At this point, Officer Winters, in my estimation, does not have probable cause yet to believe that Tayvin is intoxicated.
I'm gonna have you hop out with me, okay?
Cool.
Do me a favor, put your gum on your dash there.
Put my gum on my dash?
Yeah. Perfect. We're gonna go back here, okay?
Cool.
You don't have anything on you? No bombs, guns, drugs?
No bombs or no drugs.
Okay, let's go back here. Where are you coming from?
Back by, his name is Creighton, his friend's house.
Okay. What are you doing at Creighton's house?
We were just hanging out. Had my girlfriend there.
I gotcha.
Just got back from college.
Okay.
Go to William Penn.
Okay. You play football up there?
Yes, sir.
What position do you play?
Wide receiver.
Okay.
I'm back for the weekend.
That's why you're home?
Yep.
I gotcha. Did you go to school here in Newton then?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Played football here.
Generally, an officer will run a person's name for warrants before asking them to step out. Here, perhaps because Officer Winters had already convinced himself Tayvin was intoxicated, he just skipped past that custom and just ordered him to get out of the car. An officer can order you out if it's reasonably necessary to protect themselves or the public's safety and to facilitate their investigation of a suspected criminal activity. Here, Tayvin was suspected of driving while intoxicated. Later, an officer can't claim in court they just had a hunch he was drunk, but will have to justify their further intrusion based on specific and articulable facts. Officer Winters has Tayvin get into the police vehicle, which serves a couple of purposes. In addition to not having to stand in the rain, it makes it more difficult for Tayvin to run, and they're now in a closed space so he can smell Tayvin's breath and clothing. And while it might seem that Officer Winters is having a good conversation with Tayvin, talking about college, football, etc., what he's really doing is gathering evidence against him. The more Tayvin talks, the more information he reveals, and that could later be used in court. For example, if he slurs his words, that could be proof of intoxication.
How much have you had to drink tonight?
None.
What do you mean none?
I had nothing to drink.
Okay. Why would your eyes be watery and bloodshot?
Do you want to blow me real quick?
I don't want to blow you.
Pause.
So your movements in the car with you fumbling over the registration?
Yep.
Kind of say otherwise.
Alright.
And so does the odor of alcohol coming from your person.
Great, let's do a test and
We'll get to the test.
I can't wait.
Officer Winters then asks, how much have you had to drink tonight? This is a classic trap. A person who's been drinking will often say they just had 1 or 2 beers, hoping that it explains why they might smell of booze, but still not be drunk. Even admitting to having just 1 or 2 beers will just provide the officers with more proof supporting their decision to arrest you. Officer Winters also bluffs, pointing out things that actually happened, like Tayvin maybe fumbling some for his paperwork, with statements that he doesn't observe, like Tayvin's red, watery eyes and the odor of alcohol in his breath. Remember, officers are trained to extract confessions, and they often will bluff, hoping you fold under the pressure. The law allows police to do more than bluff. They can outright lie. During their investigation, if you lie to a police officer, they will argue in court that your lies show you had a consciousness of guilt. This shows the deck is stacked, and officers are maybe given too much deference and discretion by the court. Tayvin seemed like he was aware of the fix, and so he asked for a machine that could offer scientific proof, the breathalyzer. But when he asked Officer Winters,
Do you want to blow me real quick?
Officer Winters declined.
So what happens if, nothing pops up? Do you get in trouble?
No? Why would I get in trouble?
Because you think I'm drinking, but I'm not drinking.
I'm doing what I'm supposed to do.
Alright, let's find out real quick.
I'm not going to get in trouble for doing what I'm supposed to do.
Can I record it?
Yeah, absolutely.
What's your name?
My name's Officer Winters.
So Officer Winters thinks I'm drinking tonight. We're about to do a test, and he's going to find out I had nothing to drink. He's going to look stupid. Ain't that right? I've had nothing to drink. 0. And we're about to find out.
Tayvin asks if the officer is wrong, will the officer get in trouble? Even if wrong, as long as the officer's investigation is made in good faith, the officer will not get in trouble. If it's determined, however, that the officer acted in bad faith or without probable cause, the officer could potentially face disciplinary action, including suspensions or even termination. The officer could also be subject to a civil lawsuit. Tayvin made some good points and not so good decisions here. Like Tayvin did, it was a good idea to turn on your camera and record your interaction with police, so long as doing so does not interfere with the officer's investigation or violate some other law. And his getting permission before so was a great idea, because that would make it that much more difficult for an officer to later claim that filming interfered with anything. It's generally not a good idea to start sounding cocky, though, insulting the officer and talking a whole bunch. All of those things can work against you in the moment and later in court. A better course, if you find yourself in this situation, is politely refuse to answer the officer's questions and exercise your right to remain silent to avoid self-incrimination.
All right, so let's go up on the sidewalk here, and I'll talk with you up there, okay?
Cool.
I'm going to have you stand with your heels and toes together. with your arms down to your side. Okay. I'm going to check your eyes.
Cool.
Okay. What I want you to do is follow my finger with your eyes and your eyes only, and do not move your head. Okay.
Yep.
Do you have any questions?
Nope.
Okay, so from this position, you're going to take 9 heel-to-toe steps, touching heel to toe each time, keeping your arms down to your side, okay?
Gotcha.
It's going to look something just like this. 1, 2, 3. You're going to go all the way up to 9, okay? When you get to your 9th step, leave your front foot on the line. Turn by taking a series of small steps. Turn and take 9 heel-to-toe steps back. 1,
back around?
2, 3, just like I did. You're going to walk.
After 9 steps?
You're going to take a series of small steps and take 9 steps back, okay? Any problems with your ankles, knees, hips, or back?
Just my right ankle.
What's wrong with your right ankle?
Messes up during football.
Okay, does it prevent you from walking?
Just a little bit, but I'll be able to do this.
Okay, does it hurt right now?
Nope.
Okay.
I have all my weight on my left foot right now.
Alright, if you don't have any questions, you may begin.
Gotcha.
Offline.
So you want to get to 9? I guess, so how do I turn?
Take a series of small steps. Stops walking 13 steps. Improper turn. Heel toe.
You're not required to take a field sobriety test, and whether you refuse or comply, you can still get arrested based on other evidence. Any little mistake in the field sobriety test is just going to provide them more of a reason to arrest you, and they will use the recording as evidence. And even if you do the test perfectly, the officer can still claim that you failed and just the body camera didn't pick it up. For instance, the HGN test, where they follow your eyes to see if they involuntarily twitch, it's only the officer's word. Along the way, Officer Winters is asking several questions about Tayvin, including questions about his health, whether his shoes are comfortable, and checks to make sure he has no questions afterwards before commencing further tests. This is sound police work and prevents Tayvin from later complaining that his injured right ankle, or bad shoes, or confusion were the reasons he performed poorly on the test. While Tayvin overall seems to perform well on the test, he does not perform perfectly, instead failing to count off the right number of steps, forgetting certain instructions. His lawyer, however, may argue that the walk and turn test is supposed to be done on a dry surface, and sarcastically asked, does the failure of the test to be administered the right way by Officer Winters suggest he was drinking?
Come on, man, it's too easy. Let's do the breath now. You 2 for 2.
Well, sir, I don't believe you are 2 for 2. How many steps did I say to take?
Like 8 or 9?
I said 9. Why'd you take 14 and then 15?
I thought you were going to tell me when to turn.
I said to count your steps out loud. So the next test is I want you to stand with your heels and toes together. Stand right here in this flat part.
God, you a rookie, bro.
Okay. I want you to stand with your heels and toes together with your arms down your side.
This is your first year?
No.
No way.
No.
No way.
When I say begin, I want
How
you
many false accusations you got?
0.
It's about to be your first.
We'll see. What I want you
You know,
to do...
he knows it too. He knows I'm about to pass this shit.
Hey, why are you shaking so much?
It's freezing, man. Look at you. You got all these clothes on, and I got shorts on and it's raining. And you false accusing me, so of course I'm going to be a little nervous. Yeah. You got nothing to say. Exactly.
Questions?
Look, you in pants. I'm in shorts, and it's raining now.
I wear shorts when it's 30 below.
Congratulations.
Tayvin has every right to be angry, and seeing him call Officer Winters a rookie is incredibly satisfying. But every aggressive statement he made, unfortunately, may work out against him in court. Not only does it aggravate the police officer and increase the likelihood they'll do something about it there, like add to your trumped-up charges or even worse, but it will also look bad to the judge, the jury, and the prosecutor, making them less sympathetic when you're trying to plead your case.
I got one more test for you. I'm going to check your eyes again, okay?
All right. Blow me too, man. Give me a little blow.
I will.
Little zeros.
I will here in a minute. They're gonna tell me.
Who's supervisor?
You're looking at him.
Thank you. Thank you. Rookie move. Rookie
Don't
move.
think so. Cheer.
Wait, hold up. Am I able to get this video? Once this. What?
If you want us to peanut it.
So will it be easy to do that?
If you have an attorney, you get it, yeah.
Left. Right. Left.
Tayvin asks about getting a copy of the body-worn camera footage. After an arrest, information including body-worn camera footage is going to be provided to your lawyer. Or if the case is dismissed, you can get a copy using FOIL, Freedom of Information Law, or in the course of litigation, a subpoena to get it. While Officer Winters is taking the lead here, Lieutenant Wing's presence and inaction may subject him to civil liability for failure to intervene. An officer not only has a duty not to violate your civil rights, but has a duty to intervene when other officers are violating your civil rights. Here, Lieutenant Wing's failure to stop the false arrest of Tayvin, when he has the opportunity to do so, could subject him to civil liability.
Let's blow real quick. Stop doing all these damn tests. Let's blow. Let's get to business. If it's possible to get negative, that's what idea. Why do you assume
Because you're showing some very strong signs of impairment.
Am I?
You're a little bit on the theory side of the paperwork. You're not consistent. You're not smooth.
I mean, I was kind of nervous.
That's a telltale sign.
This will show you over here.
Alright, what I want you to do is make a tight seal around this and blow outwards like you're blowing up a balloon, okay?
Cool.
Alright.
You ready?
Yep. Okay, you can relax. So I'm going to read you Miranda, okay? Right now you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be appointed to you before any question, okay?
Yes, sir.
When's the last time we smoked weed?
I do not remember that.
Tonight?
No.
Okay, well I think it's tonight.
I've had no weed tonight.
Jasper 630 down on PBT.
What? Why do you think it's tonight? Why do you think I smoke? I blew zeros, so now you're trying to think I smoke weed. That's what's going on. You can't do that, man. You really can't do that.
Absolutely I can.
Is he allowed to do that?
Yes, he is.
So I blow zeros and you suspect drugs now. That's what we on? I blow zeros, so you think I'm on drugs. That's ridiculous.
The fact that Tayvin blows a 0.0 means that Tayvin did not consume alcohol. When he sees this, Officer Winters switches to accusing Tayvin of smoking weed. Officer Winters, however, previously said Tayvin smelled of booze. This, along with the claim that Tayvin had bloodshot eyes when he clearly didn't, completely ruins the credibility of Officer Winters. Quite simply, he can't be believed. And the fact that he immediately began reading Tayvin his Miranda rights after Tayvin blew a 0.0 proves that he planned to arrest him from the jump.
I would... during my field sobriety, it is indicative of impairment. So let's be honest.
I'm being honest.
You smoked some weed at your friend's house?
No.
You hit a pin?
Nope.
Okay. Why is your field sobriety so poor?
What?
Why is your field sobriety so poor? And why are you so lethargic and slow moving and speaking with a slurred speech? And your eyes are watery and your eyes are bloodshot.
You know why they're watery? Probably because we're in rain right now, dumbass.
It doesn't affect them in the car or in my car.
Well, I don't know what you're seeing because I can't even see my eyes. No weed. I don't smoke weed. I play college football. I told you that. We get tested every Friday.
Okay.
Don't smoke weed.
Today's Saturday.
Okay? It's 30. We say it's on your shit for 30 days. So if I did a test next week, I'd be off the football team. Dumbass. Come on. Come on.
But I think you're impaired. I think you're under the influence.
You think I'm impaired?
Yes.
Well, I'm not.
Okay. Do you want to talk to another officer?
Hell yeah, get him over here.
Okay.
It's not unheard of that someone suspected to be under the influence of alcohol turns out to be under the influence of drugs. So the police officer is allowed to go from accusing you of one to accusing you of the other. It just feels so wrong here because it's obvious Tayvin isn't under the influence, and the police are actively trying to arrest him. Officer Winters asking why his field sobriety test is poor is ridiculous considering that he started giving Tayvin narcotic tests once he saw how well he performed on the field sobriety test. And nothing about Tayvin's behavior was lethargic or slow-moving. He was energetic, articulate, and coordinated throughout the entire time. Again, calling the officer a dumbass isn't doing him any favors, but it's entertaining as hell to watch. The supervisor, Lieutenant Wing, mocking Tayvin is unprofessional, but continues to show he also condones this arrest. He seems like he's moving from failing to intervene to actively participating in the false arrest.
Do you want to do a drug recognition evaluation or a drug influence evaluation?
What's that?
There's an officer who checks your blood pressure, does a whole bunch of tests.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. Can you hear me? So here's my situation. I stopped this guy for having his brights on. I got 6 with me too. I stopped this guy for having his brights on. He fumbles around with his registration 3, 4, 5 times. He bombed sobriety. LOC is present. Finger to nose is bad. Modified Romberg was 38. I asked him, I read him Miranda, PBT 000. So he says he'll do an evaluation, but he's kind of a smart ass. Would you want to talk to him, or? Alright, that's what we'll do then. Okay, but I obviously have enough to charge him with the sobriety, so I'll ask him and I'll let you know. Just start heading to the PD and I'll let you know.
There are good and bad officers. No matter which type they are, every officer wants to have the strongest arrest possible. And so, they may put their thumb on the scale. They'll embellish, they'll overstate, they'll say that he bombed the field sobriety test and then point to portions of, say, body-worn camera footage to prove it. And the things that can't be seen on the video, officers will say, well, I was there, and believe me, that guy failed that too. Fortunately, if this case had gone to court, Tayvin would likely never have been convicted, because Officer Winters has ruined his credibility. Here, we get a glimpse into the officer's possible motivation, telling his colleague, that drug recognition expert he's speaking with, that Tayvin is a smartass, when it has nothing to do with the conversation they're having about Tayvin's sobriety. Some might argue that Officer Winters is trying to dog whistle to his colleague, that this arrest isn't legitimate, attempting to get him on board with charging Tayvin when they show up at the station. Later, we will see the drug recognition expert encouraging Officer Winters to go back to his office while the expert conducts the narcotic test on Tayvin, all of which Tayvin passes, resulting in the charges being dropped.
How do you pronounce your name? Tayvin?
Tayvin Galanakis.
Okay. So, I spoke with the drug recognition expert, and he said that he's willing to do a drug influence evaluation on you. We would have to go up to the PD.
Right now?
Yep.
I don't want to do that right now.
You don't want to do it right now? Why not?
Because you have me out in this damn rain.
We would go to the PD where it's
Well, I
dry.
don't want to do that. I don't want to do that now. I want to go home. You wasted my time.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Right now you're being placed under arrest for operating while intoxicated, okay?
I'm not intoxicated. Sir, I'm not intoxicated. I blew zero.
You can be under the influence of a narcotic.
My phone?
Nothing else on you?
It's my inhaler, man. That's
see
not
that.
drugs.
Okay. Let's go back here. Have a seat in there.
You wait till my mom comes, though?
Nope. You're over 18.
You can almost hear the contempt Officer Winters has for Tayvin when he asks if he can contact his mother. Officer Winters says, nope, you're over 18, in a self-satisfied tone. Like the coordination test, if Tayvin had refused to meet with the drug recognition expert, prosecutors would likely argue that refusal suggested consciousness of guilt. After arresting Tayvin, the officers drove him to the station. There, the officer conducted an examination and tests for narcotics. Before beginning the exam, the DRE, or drug recognition expert, asked Officer Winters to go into the hall so he can hear his version of events, which were grossly exaggerated. Winters claimed once again that Tayvin's behaviors were lethargic, despite Tayvin being alert and coordinated the entire time. He used the fact that Tayvin took too many steps during the walk and turn test as proof that he failed, omitting the detail that he ignored Tayvin's question about who was keeping track of the steps. He also claimed that Tayvin was stepping off the line during the turn, and that was a failure, even though this wasn't borne out on the video. During the conversation, the drug recognition expert also asked Officer Winters if he conducted the walk and turn test in the rain, which is against protocol. And Officer Winters lied about it. He said, oh, it was just starting to rain, even though the body camera footage captured that it was heavy rain during their interaction. The drug recognition expert then had Officer Winters go back to his office while he conducted the test for narcotics, all of which Tayvin passed. Finally, he gave Tayvin the good news and informed him that he could go home. But before Tayvin left, he asked to speak to Officer Winters in person for one last time.
Hey buddy, what's going on?
So, I just want to know, like, how does it feel?
How does it feel for what?
Remember I told you when you first pulled me over?
I had nothing to drink. He's gonna look stupid.
You're like, you're impaired. You're on drugs. You drink alcohol. Turns out I'm not on any of that.
Okay.
Really dumb decision by you today. I'm really disappointed in how you can't about your job.
I based my decision on your field sobriety tests.
Was it really failed though? It was pouring outside. It was terrible cement. Okay, but like, I said I'd blow right away. I do everything.
But there's also steps that I have to go through.
Did you really thought I was drunk?
The way I first spoke with you and your movements, I believe something was off.
That's crazy, man. Was this your first false accusation?
No.
You said it was...
I've been wrong many times.
Yeah, I can tell. Terrible, man.
So
That's terrible. I hope you do better than that
next time. I would recommend asking for clarification. If you don't understand something, ask.
But I didn't need to do all this extra shit.
Okay. Well, that's why we offer the test to you is...
Like, you wasted my night. 3 hours. Was it 3 or 2 hours?
I don't know.
We can't have this happen in Newton, man. I love Newton.
Okay.
I want you to do a better job than that.
Okay.
Okay? As I'm a citizen here, I love Newton cops. You're probably a good guy, right? You're probably a great
Try to
guy.
be.
And I'm a good guy. I don't have any record, and you do that to me. Like, there's other guys probably out in Newton right now, breaking the law, actually breaking the law. Like, not
I'm
over.
not saying there's not.
And you waste your time with me, and someone's mom could be getting killed right now. You don't know, but you got
Unlikely, but
yeah,
possible.
and it was unlikely I was drunk.
All of your indications from the time of stop.
My breath didn't smell like weed, didn't smell like alcohol. This doesn't smell like alcohol for sure, so I couldn't find any other way to want to arrest me.
When I offered you the drug recognition influence evaluation, you said no. So I had to go off of what I had on field sobriety.
Okay, but we just gotta do better than that, man. We just gotta do better than that.
I deserve a apology. I guess I'm sorry.
Damn, that shit feel good.
This is incredibly entertaining to watch, but from a legal perspective, it's a terrible idea. Drawing out the interaction with the police only continues exposing Tayvin to further risks, as Officer Winters could decide to come up with pretense for new charges at any moment. The better course to win the day, go home and contact a civil lawyer. That being said, having Officer Winters on film admitting that he's been wrong many times is going to haunt him for the rest of his career and be fodder for a good cross-examination in every future case he tries to bring. Further, the city allowing him to remain on the force on active patrol, though he's been wrong many times, is going to increase liability against the city, as they're leaving an admittedly incompetent officer on the streets to make more bad arrests. This is also where Tayvin edited the body cam footage to add details about Officer Winters being convicted of domestic abuse, which formed the basis of the defamation countersuit later filed by the city, which we'll discuss shortly. So how strong is Tayvin's case for false arrest? Officer Winters was clearly biased and planned to arrest Tayvin from the jump, but intentions, however obvious, isn't enough. To successfully sue for false arrest, Tayvin will have to show that Officer Winters arrested him without probable cause. Again, probable cause is that level of suspicion that is required in order to justify an arrest. The question will turn on whether the defendant officer, here Officer Winters, had a reasonable belief based on the facts and circumstances known to him at the time that the plaintiff, Tayvin, had committed a crime or was about to commit a crime. In this case, whether there was probable cause would be a question that would likely be decided by a jury. Officer Winters would argue that under the totality of the circumstances, he had probable cause to arrest Tayvin and point to specific observations and the failed field sobriety test. Tayvin would argue otherwise and point to his performance and the changing accusations of Officer Winters. And it's not even if there was probable cause or not. Officer Winters would win his suit if it would found he reasonably, but mistakenly, concluded there was probable cause. So a good way to think about it is that Officer Winters will prevail if there was arguable probable cause. Even if Tayvin were to win, the amount of damages he could recover would be relatively small because it's only confined for 3 hours. Fortunately, it doesn't appear that his goal was ever to get compensated. He later was quoted in an article that he was suing the police simply to remind them of law and order. While he might not win the case, because it's a case that would likely go to a jury, the city might think it's smarter to offer some compensation to avoid the possibility of a major jury verdict against them. This is why it's crucial to remain silent and provide as little evidence as possible if you find yourself in a similar situation. You don't want to give the police anything they can later use against you in criminal court. Only then will you have the best chance of winning a lawsuit against them in civil court. What should we make of the city's defamation lawsuit against Tayvin? Officer Winters' decision, countersuit, shows just how much his ego is invested in this incident. He likely took offense to Tayvin's lack of respect during their initial discussion about the high beams and sought to arrest and charge him as a way of teaching him a lesson. Now he's countersuing Tayvin for defamation after being humiliated on the internet by his own body cam footage. While ego is a part of it, there's also some sound legal strategy here. Remember, sometimes the best defense is a good offense. Now, Tayvin, he has something to lose, but only if the defamation is there. Well, the city will argue it is, News claimed that Tayvin's release of the body cam footage qualifies as defamation because the edited version of the video includes text saying that Winters has been convicted of domestic abuse, which is not technically true. According to news reports, there is a protective order between him and his girlfriend, and that he is restrained from committing any further acts of abuse or threats of abuse. While this would imply that abuse did in fact take place, he was never convicted of domestic abuse, as Tayvin had alleged. Here in New York, in order to successfully win a defamation case, you must prove that the defendant made a false and defamatory statement that he knew or should have known was false. The false statement clearly identified the target, the defendant published the defamatory statement to at least one third party, and the defamation damaged the plaintiff's character in some way. This case appears to meet all these criteria. Tayvin would try to defend, arguing that Officer Winters is a public figure, and so the city would have to provide that Tayvin knew the statement was false or acted with reckless disregard for the truth. That argument, however, would fail, because Officer Winters does not appear to be a high-ranking or involved in making or implementing any sort of policy. Thus, he won't be considered a public official. As a fallback, Tayvin's lawyers may argue instead Officer Winters would likely be facing the same negative reaction from the online community even if Tayvin clarified that it was a protective order rather than a conviction, because it was his behavior against Tayvin that damaged his character, not any alleged conviction. Here, Tayvin may well end up recovering nothing, and even maybe have to pay. This whole countersuit might have been avoided if Tayvin had retained skilled civil rights lawyer before posting content online, and his false arrest lawsuit would definitely be stronger had he contacted a civil lawyer before speaking openly with Officer Winters. If you find your civil rights being violated by the police, don't hesitate contacting an experienced civil rights lawyer immediately. And if you're in New York and you'd like us to represent you, give us a call at 833-SUE-NYPD. That's 833-783-6973. Together we'll build the best case possible. And if we don't win, you don't pay a dime. And if this is your first time on my channel, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications for videos more about protecting your civil rights from the police and holding them accountable when they abuse their power. I make this content to help you understand your rights and to learn to exercise them when it matters most. So click here to watch this video next, and I'll see you there.